Hi everyone. If my face isn't looking quite right, that's because this side right here is slightly swollen. Um, I had the tooth torture for I think a couple of days now. I have to go back and look at my social media because as soon as it dropped, that's when I started talking. So I've had it for a few days now. And yeah, that this is always their go-to whenever things are going too well for me. They did it in the hostel because in the hostel there are a few gang stalkers there, but the thing is the psychological torture and the electronic torture wasn't quite doing it, so they decided to go for attack here because they've done it before. I think the first time they did it was when I was actually like a young kid. Whenever they want me to be really subdued, they focus on here because here is directly connected to the nervous system. So if you hurt a tooth or if a tooth gets infected, it can very easily come around the side of your skull because like it's good like you anywhere where there's sensitive nerve endings, that's where the gang stalkers usually like to attack in order to try to subdue you or something like that. So if it's not the feet, then it's going to be somewhere like here, and it is almost always on your left side. And the reason for that is because that's where your heart is, and that's where it has to pump blood around your body. So if they weaken this side, then by proxy it kind of weakens your heart's ability to sustain itself, or at least that's my assessment of it anyway. So that's what normally happens when when things are going a bit too well for me. It happened in London. It happened back in London when I had the last flat. I was taking the psychological abuse, the harassment and the electronic harassment just a little bit too well. So they started attacking here. And once they attack here, the pain spreads all the way to here. So they realised that had an effect on me, and that kind of made me out of sorts, and that kind of knocked me off my feet a little bit. And it kind of made me, because the thing about perps is that they like to feel like you're human or that you have emotions. Not because they want to connect with you, but because they want to know that their torture is actually working. So if you're not expressing your emotions, ironically, the only reason you don't express your emotions is because you're being abused, but okay. When you're not expressing your emotions, it makes the torturers feel that what they're doing is not working. So in order to up the ante, they'll attack specific places to do with your nervous system or to do with your heart. Back in the hotel just before I came here, I was attacked this way a lot. I put a video on of because it was really scary. It was getting to a point where like there was liquid like coming up from my throat, and I didn't know what that liquid was. I knew it wasn't blood because it didn't taste like it, but it was like my heart was pounding, like they were attacking my heart a lot. So it really made me scared because it just seemed to be relentless. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Now, not being funny, but we're all going to die. We're all going to be rotting in the ground, so don't make no difference anyway. But I didn't want to die that way because, and it wasn't because, I was afraid of losing my life. It was because I was afraid of losing myself. I like this person. So the thought of leaving her behind is just, this person is in myself. I might not like the way I look, and I might not like a lot of things about myself, but I think of all the things that I like about myself, I at the very least like myself as a person. Even knowing I'm not a good person, even knowing that I can be full of BS sometimes, I still like myself because I like courageous, brave, fucking... What is there, like, for me, what is there not to like? But anyway, I digress. They fired the weapons on my heart because I wasn't kicking off enough for them. So when that didn't work, they tried something else. Oh, I'm getting lost now because of the whole headache thing. It's all I can think about, so let me go back. So the first, it started in Anson Road. It started with Cricklewood. Basically, they attacked my jaw a lot, and it was relentless. They relentlessly attacked my jaw because they're thinking, if the pain is enough or the pain gets enough, then I'll incriminate myself or some bollocks like that. Like I said, it always happens when I'm getting too calm or when I'm becoming a bit too sound of mind, or when the psychological torture is not taking enough. Then they'll do this to incapacitate me. But that backfired the last time that they did that, because the last time that they did that, I ended up taking evidence of lies being told by mental health the last time that happened. So that it didn't work the last time around. The second notable time was in the hostel. In the hostel, it was really bad. It was really, really bad, because it would have been different if it was just the torture. But it was a hostel with almost no central heating. It in the middle of fucking January, and January to like the end of January to the beginning of February, Tropic Aquarius season. That's the fucking worst time to get this type of pain, because it's cold all the time and you can't get heating all the time. And the colder it is, the more it affects your nervous system. That already hurts your nervous system. And then to get torture on top of that, it aggravates it. So basically, I was hollering like a motherfucker the entire time. I was crying out for my parents. Oh, God, it was really bad. That's how bad it was. I was crying out for my parents. Spent half the time high as a kite because I needed the codeine to function. Taking codeine right now, but it's just not as much. I needed the codeine to function. I was taking every sort of painkiller there was. It did not stop. That's what made me realize it was actually the torture. And on top of that, whilst I was crying my eyes out in the middle of the street to get my pharmaceuticals, the amount of perps that were gloating, but this is how much pain I was in. I didn't even, I noticed, but I didn't even care. I was in that much pain. Perps tried to gloat about it. I was like, no, I couldn't even feel bad about it. I couldn't even feel embarrassed. It was one of those pains where I couldn't even feel embarrassed about it, because it was just too much. It was too much pain for me to feel embarrassed about. It was too much pain for me to feel self-conscious about. It was one of those pains where it didn't matter how you were acting or what people thought about it. Like, that's the last thing on your mind, because all you can think about is the pain. So, I notice shit, but, just because I notice shit, it doesn't mean that I care. And honestly, it's just, it was bad, man. It was bad. I can't even feel bad about it. Because if I'm the one being tortured, and then on top of that, the pain was so fucking bad, there's no way I'm going to be self-conscious about it. So the second time was in the hostel, and, they used that situation to pennies crazy. I don't give a fuck anyway, sorry. I'm not being funny, but, I really don't care. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit. If I'm the one in pain, why am I going to care what you think, bro? Do you know what I mean? But the reason I'm laughing so hard now is because I was so upset at the time. I was going through this pain, and nobody seemed to care. But now I'm looking back on it, I'm thinking, they're crap. That's why they didn't do anything. It's got nothing to do with me. And plus, there were gang stalkers there anyway. And the people that I had the most issue with was the people I did not know and had not spoken to. So I can look back on it now and laugh, but at the time it was I was going through so much shit, with that tooth pain back there. And the hostel was a gold mine, because it was no heating, no proper heating. And I was in a dorm, I could have no privacy. The only time where I could get privacy is if there were no new guests. And the council had to move me out because the hostel was closing down. They had to move me out. And man, when I tell you the council did me a favor, like this is one of the times where I don't know if it was down to gang stalking, probably not. I don't know if it was down to gang stalking or what, but that was mate. Biggest favor they ever did for me was get me out of there. And it's not because of what people were doing in there. That I could handle. I didn't, I was used to conflict at this point. So a whole building of people hating me, it wasn't really that big a deal to me. It was the fucking pain and the fact that it was cold. That's the part that I had difficult to deal with. And the perps knew that. That's why they did it in the first place. Okay? But they continued to torture me in that area even after I left the hostel and went into that hotel in Eastbourne. Now, the hotel in Eastbourne was cold as well, but the thing is, they had a bath there. They had a running bath and everything. So if I wanted to, I could just take a bath and just relax, drink some tea, and over time, these people stopped the torture because, figured you probably got bored or something. So they just stopped the torture in that area. So for a while, the perps would torture my tooth or torture my gums, like on and off, but it wouldn't get really bad until they felt that I was coping too well. That's when things always happen. That's when the reports happen. That's when, mental health gets involved. That's when the police gets involved. Is when I start telling the truth and I'm coping way too well with what's going on. So that they can turn around and say, oh yeah, she's deteriorating. But hear what, right? There's evidence all over the place that when I'm living on my own, I do so much better than when I'm living with other people. And I've got evidence that the only time when mental health and the police step in is when I'm coping too well. The evidence of that is all over the place. So there's nothing really that they can say that will, help their case. It's on record as well. It's been proven over and over again that the only time when they took me in is when I was getting better. They didn't take me in when I was getting worse. So with that now came the tooth pain when I came here. Now, this tooth pain that I'm going through right now is the worst it's been since I've been here, because the people firing the electronic weapons, they haven't switched them off. I've taken paracetamol and codeine, and that's managing the pain, but they still haven't turned off the electronic weaponry yet. So I know when they haven't turned it off that they're trying to get me to react in a specific way to make me violent, or a specific way to... I don't know who they are, by the way. I don't know who's using the weapons. It could be anybody. Because weaponry like this is remote. So it could be fired from anywhere. Like, it doesn't have to be from anybody in this building. It could be literally coming from anywhere. So I say they because I don't know specifically who they are. I don't know their names. So the people firing the electronic weaponry, they're firing it now because, once again, I'm in a situation where I'm coping too well with what's going on. I had a tantrum over my keys, I think it was Saturday. Threw a tantrum over my keys, cussed out my neighbour, cussed out the stalkers, even though I don't think the neighbour had anything to do with it, honestly, with my keys. And I'm not being funny, they didn't, because there's evidence that they had nothing to do with it. And there's evidence that I'm the one that left my keys outside. So they had nothing to do with my fucking keys. I was just triggered. And plus I was hormonal. And plus I was being bombarded with EMF weaponry that was making my moods out of sort. So yeah, that had nothing to do with them. But what does have to do with my neighbours is the noise pollution and the gaslighting. And I think they have made reports about me based on that tantrum where I didn't even threaten them. It was like I was cussing out the neighbour for taking my keys, and then I said sorry, but it was the gang stalkers that were surveilling the property, that were actually bugging the property, that got the most heat from me. So it was like you made you created all this war over a tantrum that was hormonal and that scarcely had anything to do with you. So you basically engaged in this war where I'm being taught, you basically involved yourself in a situation where I'm being tortured to death over nothing. It was a tantrum. You could have just let it go. I even said I was sorry because that's how I am. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't give a fuck I don't give a fuck if I'm accused. I could accuse a fucking serial killer of taking my keys. If he didn't take my keys, I'm gonna say you didn't take my keys. Simple. You could have just let that shit go, but you chose not to. But let me come back to my tooth. So Saturday I threw the tantrum and made a video about it, but I had to take the video down, but because of somebody I'm in a relationship with. And I was saying some stuff on that particular video that was unfair to them. I'd rather talk to them about that than say that online. Okay, so I took that down because of somebody I'm in a relationship with at the moment. And yeah, so yeah, I took that down. Not only put another video up, but put 2 videos up, because the first live, as you know, another TI jumped in a live and we talked about solutions with regards to how to handle our targeting and things like that. And it was pretty illuminating information. But I made a second live on my Facebook to put on YouTube because I wanted to stick to the subject of why I've made the live in the first place. So I did the redo, and of course I don't give a fuck if people report me over a tantrum, because it was a tantrum. I didn't threaten to kill anybody, didn't threaten anybody's life. Spoke the truth. I didn't threaten anybody. I ain't got the time or the patience to be threatening people whose faces I can't even see. I ain't got the fucking time for it. Okay, I don't have the time. So yeah, I re-uploaded it and I talked about exactly what I did, because I can't be asked with what anybody thinks about it. And of course I was reported, and of course I got that letter from mental health and things like that. Now, the toothache came before that. The toothache came before all of that. I think it came right around the time where I said to myself, you know what? These people are going to kill off my nerve endings with the bullshit. They're going to kill off my nerve endings. They're going to cause me immense pain. They're going to fire weapons at my heart. They're going to cause me cancer or stroke or a heart attack or something at some point in my life. And then I have to put together that my nerve ends are slowly dying off because of all the fucking medications that I've been put on in order to manage the pain. And plus I have to take into consideration the overdoses that I'd been taking when I was younger in order to try to kill myself, right? So I had to take all of that into account. My nerves are dying off. These people are clearly trying to kill me, and these people are clearly causing me pain. And they're going to continue to do that no matter what I say and do. So what is the point in me not speaking the truth? And I think from there, the pain has been on and off. It's been like a little bit of a game to see how long that I can go for without taking painkillers and shit. But I think where the tooth pain came to a crescendo now, and I think where the gang stalkers decided to turn up the electronic torture was with that mental health letter. I think that's when they decided, you know what, we're going to turn this up, and whether she takes painkillers or not, we're not going to stop it. Yeah. That meant when I read out the letter from Adult Social Care or Brighton Council to do with adult social care, when I started reading out that letter, and when I started saying that there are things about specific organisations that I could be all over that ass with it. Yeah. And when it became clear that I wasn't going to be intimidated by police. I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared of police. I've had enough dealings with them to know how they work. They get nervous around me, if anything, because they know I know the truth about them. So they know I'm not going to get nervous around police. They know I'm going to run rings around mental health no matter what they do. They know that, I can justify my anger by basically pinpointing exactly how and why I've lost my temper and in what capacity. They know that I can do all of that. So in knowing that I can do all of that, what they decided to do was increase the pain on my jaw, because they're figuring if I have increased pain on my jaw, it will make me kick off. They're right, but the thing is, if I know where the pain is coming from, why am I going to kick off at my neighbor? It doesn't make any sense. Why am I going to kick off at my neighbor who I've never met, never spoken to, over tooth pain that might have absolutely nothing to do with them? Why am I going to do that? And plus, who have I got to talk to on the phone like that? Who have I got to talk to? And you see, they do things that don't make no sense because they want to test me, and they want to test to see how far my endurance goes. But they already know how far my endurance goes. I just think they're just in desperation thinking that their cruelty is going to mean something. But increasingly, as my body becomes weaker, as my mind becomes weaker, it increasingly means nothing. Because if my body is being destroyed anyway, no matter what I do, why am I keeping quiet? And go ahead, let them drug and medicate me. People are going to know the difference. People are going to know the difference. That's why I'm saying to myself, I'm lying in bed, I'm lying in pain right now because these people decided to turn the torture up. And yeah, it's dying down now, but as soon as I come off this video, they're going to turn it up again, right? As soon as I come off this video, whoever's torturing me with this, they're going to turn it up again as soon as the cameras come off. Just be aware of that, okay? And my body is deteriorating. It's been deteriorating. It's been aging rapidly because of this shit. So why am I covering up for people who are torturing me? What's the point in me doing that if they're just gonna fucking torture me all over again anyway? What's the point in me doing it? And there's proof all over the place. It's like there's a whole triangle formation on my fucking face where they've hit me. So like, why am I gonna? It's like it doesn't make any sense. Why am I gonna lie about it, and why am I gonna keep it quiet if they're gonna continue to cause me this amount of pain? Why am I gonna do that? You know what I mean? It's stupid, man. Oh. And listen, man, I'm tough. I'm tough and I can take a lot, but I will be damned if this pain in my jaw ain't kicking my ass. I'll be damned if it's not kicking my ass. But at the same time, this is exactly why you don't choose power over truth, because power is a mug's game. It doesn't keep you safe. It doesn't keep you secure. It doesn't help you. The only thing that gets us out of anything is the truth. And sure, we may not see the results of that in our lifetime because most people are fragile. But, you choose the truth. Like, they're just going to keep brutalizing you no matter what you do. Doesn't matter. Just live your life and just be honest about it. Just be honest about it, Yeah, so that's their go-to. Tooth pain is always their go-to. There's some kind of nervous system bullshit is always their go-to when they feel like you're being too calm or you're getting on with your life too well. But, they think that there has to be that one thing, there has to be that one piece of torture that, that the victim can't come back from. There is no such thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There is no such thing. If this is the motherfucker that knocks me on my ass and it still couldn't stop me coming back, then nothing can stop me coming back from anything. Even death couldn't stop it. Even death couldn't stop it. There is nothing that a victim of abuse cannot come back from in one way or the other. There's nothing they can't come back from. I'm sorry. But yeah, people who are cruel, they think that in that moment, like, if you can make somebody feel miserable, if you can weigh on somebody's line of least resistance, if you can weigh on that long enough, then they will stop coming back. They'll stop being themselves. They'll stop having their own world. But what you don't seem to understand is, I think what the electronic torturers and the psychological warfare informal collaborators don't seem to understand is that the human spirit is, our souls might be weak or our egos might be weak, but our spirits are not weak at all. Once you strip all that away, there's just the spirit left, and that spirit is not weak. There's nothing that the human spirit can't come back from. It's just a fact of life, man. There's nothing the human spirit can't come back from. It doesn't matter how old or frail you get. Doesn't matter how ill you get. There's nothing that the human spirit can't come back from. And that's what the people that are doing this social experimentation, that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for the moment where they can crush somebody's spirit. It will never happen. And especially not with somebody like me. You can go ahead and cause me all the tooth pain you want, or keep me awake because of the tooth pain. Do whatever you need to do. You can try and make threats and shit like that about men. I ain't got that. Listen. You can tell by the look on my face that I ain't got near fuck to give left, my guy. I haven't got a goddamn fuck to give right now at this moment. Like, look at my eyes, baby. Look at my eyes. Look at my face. No fucks to give. Yeah, I'm high on codeine right now, yeah. Fight about it. Fight about it with yourselves. I'm high on codeine. Fuck you. High on codeine. Fuck you, man. Yeah. Yeah, so you can go ahead and do all your tooth pain shit. I will find a way to adapt to the shit. I always do. And like I said, there's nothing I can't come back from. There is absolutely nothing I can't come back from. And you've seen it repeatedly. And you still ain't learned yet. You see, if the narcissists were smart, they would have ended this years ago, but they didn't. That's what a narcissist does. They keep going with diminishing returns, keep going with diminishing returns, keep going with diminishing returns, keep seeking power over truth until that power just leaves you with nothing but ash and a nasty taste in your mouth and cancer on your balls. The truth is a way better companion than power. Because at least with the truth, you're protected. It has its own protection. It means nothing surprises you. It means you accept things as they are. You accept yourself as you are. And like I said, when it comes to me, I'm not a good person, but I like myself. I'm flawed. I'm horny. I'm selfish. I'm fucking, I'm flawed, horny, selfish, insecure. Kind of needy. No, actually really needy. Really needy, I'm not going to lie. But I like myself. I do like myself. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I do like myself. I even like myself when I'm being scary and awful. When horrible thoughts take over in my mind about people and, people who do me wrong and, and I always go to the nth extremes. I like myself anyway. I like myself when I'm scary. I like myself when I'm kind to people. I like myself when, I'm confident. I even like myself when I'm weak. And that's the only thing that I really have to lose. I mean, for me, it's a lot. But it's the only thing I have to lose at this point. Myself, my relationship with myself that I've cultivated over 35 years. 35 years of deprogramming. 35 years of leaning into my weaknesses in order to understand them. And I like who I am. And guess what? I ain't even started yet, man. I like who I am. And and when you like who you are, it just like when you go through shit like this, it's just like, it just feels petty. Even though it's not. I mean, it's torture. People are being tortured to death right now. People have lost their lives because of this torture. But for me, it feels petty. Because they're trying to use this torture to make me not like who I am. I'm thinking anybody who survives this shit is a bad bitch. The fuck? I'm not being funny, right? But anybody who survives this amount of shit on their own, electronic torture, physical torture repeatedly, having to run through a gauntlet of people saying she's crazy for talking about people trying to kill her, having to run through a gauntlet of moving from place to place, people telling lies about you, people engaging in smear campaigns, life-ruining smear campaigns, going through anxiety, going through all of this stuff, going through health concerns, all that type of shit, to survive all that type of shit and come out the other side with any part of your integrity intact. That's a bad bitch. Why wouldn't I like me? Why wouldn't I? Having been through all that. I'm my toughest critic, but even I have to be like, I'm a fucking bad bitch. I'm a dope bitch. No cap. Even I have to be like, you know what? Yo, no, you did the damn thing. Still not finished. How can you not like yourself when you prove yourself to be that strong and that brave and that resourceful? Impossible. 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 Absolutely impossible. Force to be reckoned with. Absolutely. That's a person worth liking. For me anyway. So anyway, yeah, as soon as these cameras come off, they're gonna whoever's firing the electronic weaponry, they're gonna turn it back up in the hopes that I'll kick off. I probably will kick off because it's painful, but there's nothing that the human spirit can't overcome. It just is what it is. I love you guys. You take care of yourselves. I'm sorry that this rant meandered and shit, but pain. What can you do? I love you guys. Take care. Bye.